G'day folks, welcome back to Dune Awakening. Hope you guys are doing well. In the previous episode, we finally got ourselves an assault ornithopter. Now, as you guys realized in that episode, I was a bit sort of, well, I don't want to say semi-disappointed. I mean, I was happy that we managed to get this thing, but there's a few drawbacks, and I can't see myself using it regularly just yet. Of course, you know, it is beefier. We can store a lot more stuff in this thing in case we needed to do stuff like that. But those drawbacks are the fact that it consumes a lot more fuel and it moves a lot slower than the Scout Ornithopter. And I feel like perhaps maybe we will be just leaving this here for the time being, unless we decide to sort of play around with some of the weapon modules, which I could do in this episode perhaps, and just swap out the storage for it. So perhaps maybe that's something that we might explore. But we didn't really do any building in the previous episode, and we were sort of testing the size of this thing and how much space it's going to need for landing and all that sort of stuff. So there's a bit of building ahead of us that needs to happen to accommodate such large vehicles. So I think that's the first thing that we're going to get up to. So I'll speed things up just so that it doesn't take us too long. Right, that was quite a bit more building, and yeah, we are ready to hopefully use some of our landing pads for the assault ornithopter. I haven't really done too much more with the other landing pads, and I know I probably should maybe increase them, although maybe that's not entirely necessary because we've already got like a couple of large landing pads anyway. So yeah, we'll see how we go. But as I mentioned in the intro, perhaps maybe we should play around with some weapons for the ornithopter. Now, I was sort of looking at our options. Actually, sorry, before we do that, I also just wanted to show you guys that I was playing around with the still tent, which we learnt about in, I think it was the previous episode, or it was this one. Anyway, yeah, so I made the still tent, and there it is there. I am going to bring it with me constantly because, yeah, I keep running into storms and having to sort of seek shelter, but this should help in those circumstances. The only problem is that it does occupy a spot in our inventory, so but I can live with that, I think. And yeah, between cuts, I did also farm for a few more, you know, military grade parts, and I found one of these, the responsive planar suspensor belts. So I'm not entirely sure if that's better than what we currently have. Okay, right. So it lets you sort of hover, and it lets you move around in the air a little bit better, but it's probably not as good as the full suspensor belt, to be honest. So I might actually leave that, and I could even maybe recycle it, to be honest. Full suspensor belt, in my opinion, is a little bit better, but I think there's a version of the Emperor's Wings out there which could be even better than the suspensor belt. So I'll have to try and do some research on where to find that, because obviously it'll be in a testing station or something along those lines. Anyway, as I was about to say, I did look at whether or not we can make some weapons for the ornithopter, and I think we should be able to make, I think they're like rocket pods or something like that. Now, as I was looking through this though, sorry, I was looking through the research rather, I have researched the assault ornithopter rocket launcher, but I quickly discovered that we actually have a scout ornithopter version as well. So you can actually outfit the scout ornithopter to launch rockets. Very interesting indeed. So, I mean, I probably won't play around with this, but I will play around with the assault ornithopter rocket launcher. So we should have everything needed for it. So why don't we make one? I'm just trying to see what's actually limiting us here. I think it's the cobalt paste. So it might not be a bad idea for us to try and make a bit more cobalt paste. But yeah, I'll do that when we eventually make our way back upstairs. I'm just waiting for this to be completed, and while we're doing that, I'll talk about what we're going to do to test it out. So I reckon it might not be a bad idea to go out and actually check out more of these wrecks. And some of the enemies within the wreck areas seem to be quite challenging. And then there's this wreck of the Delphis. Now, strangely, I feel like the wreck of the Aurea is where we actually went to complete the Atreides quest instead of the wreck of the Delphis. So I feel like the wreck of the Delphis may have a lot more interesting things. Irradiated slag is definitely a material that we're going to need to start, you know, farming for and utilizing in various things. So I'm keen on trying to figure out the best way to be able to obtain all of that. If I can clear out some enemies on the outside using the rocket pods, that would be fantastic. But yeah, so this is going to be a bit of a test run. The last time we went out to some of the wrecks in the Shoal area, we had a pretty hard time, actually. We constantly died, so it wasn't the most pleasant. But if we're able to clear some of those enemies before we even land, maybe that's going to help us a little bit. So anyway, let's try to make our way to the Thopter, and let's see if we can outfit this thing. So, one thing that I am not sure of is whether or not there's going to be a requirement to create some ammo for these rocket pods. So, yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that. There we go. Rocket pods installed. Now, let's just do a test here. How do I use the rocket pods? C, I guess. Might be... Yeah, but perhaps maybe I don't have any ammo? Is that what's going on there? So, I might need to see if I can make some ammo. And I'm not 100% sure where that happens from. I don't think it's from the vehicle fabricator. It could be potentially from, like, a weapons fabricator, potentially. Let's see. I don't even have a weapons fabricator right now, I don't think. Let me just double check on stuff in the general fabricator. I don't think it'll be in here. Yeah, darts and stuff like that can be made from here. Yeah, I don't think it's from any of these. Potentially, we may need to get ourselves a weapon fabricator, which, to be fair, I haven't exactly done since we've moved. So, I ought to do that. Here's fine. It is blocking the door a little bit. Rockets. There we go. We need quite a little bit of duraluminum for that, so why don't we go with like 10? And apparently this consumes fuel cells as well. Very interesting, and water. But duraluminum is probably going to be the most difficult thing to try and make, to then make the rockets themselves. I've run out of spice sand, so let's just take a look at this. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of rockets. Did I need that many? Maybe I didn't need so much. But anyway, we've got it now, so I don't know how we actually utilize it within the Orni itself. Do we have to load it somehow? Yeah, okay. Okay, there's an actual space for rockets. Very good, very good. I do have the Assault Ornithopter storage with me, so let me just quickly tuck that away. And then we'll be off and we'll test the rockets out and see what that's all about. Yeah, I've got all various vehicle components going on in this storage container, which is good, because I plan to make a Mark V sand buggy and sand bike as well eventually. If I manage to find all components without having to make them, then we may as well use it, right? So gonna fly off to the shoal area, and yeah, we'll test out the rockets and we'll see if we can just loot some of those wrecks. It'll take us a little bit to get there because this thing moves so slowly. So yeah, I'll see you guys when we actually get closer to one of the wrecks. Right, we're already getting irradiated in this area, so it might not be a bad idea just to chuck the radiation suit on for the time being. Speaking of radiation, I do want to hopefully get the next tier of radiation suit researched, and we'll see if we can actually make it. I don't know if we have the capability for that just yet, but we can always sort of just give it a try. Another option is to make some radiation tablets, which I think that requires agave seeds, so I'm gonna need to go back to the Udom to try and find those. Yeah, do we have any enemies in this area? I actually don't see any enemies. Unless maybe they might be inside. Can we fire a rocket off? Okay. Yeah, that's pretty sick. I'm getting a lot of stutter here, guys. Okay, I have no idea if there were enemies inside, but, if there were, hopefully some of them have died. Let's make our way inside, and let's see if we can loot this place. Irradiated slag, that's what I'm looking for, and totally forgot, but we do need a cutter ray. There we go. Anything else in here that's gonna explode? Doesn't look like it. So, not a lot of that slag, unfortunately. I would say that that would be the most valuable thing for us to find here. Right. Let's try and get out of the radiation once more. And, I'll hit up another spot like that one, but only after we've recovered our, radiation tolerance. Yeah, I don't know if there's a better way to utilize the Ornithopter. Maybe the boost would be good to speed it up a little bit more, but then you lose the ability to, you know, store stuff in it. Or the ability to, you know, bring some firepower with you. But yeah, I'm hoping that there are actual enemies in this next wreck. So let's make our way there. Okay, no enemies here either, it seems. Unless they might be hiding inside. was very cheeky. There's a bit more slag. Let's check out the other side. I don't think I'll be able to open that. Probably leave the dirt behind.
Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching.
Oof. Okay, yeah, this is a little bit rough. Sandstorm in 1 minute. So, I really don't know what we should do when there are sandstorms, and whether or not there's a way for us to sort of avoid damaging the ornithopter during these sandstorms. So I suppose maybe the best thing to do would be to land it, but then I also need to seek shelter myself, right? So I'm gonna see if I can land it near the rock formation over here.
Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. So I'll borrow this person's home. Give us a little bit of cover there, and then I really need that tent. Let's go. Oh, man. Well, at least we've got to utilize this tent immediately after learning about it. Definitely is useful. So, with heavy vehicles, I'm not sure if they actually last in the storm. I know lighter vehicles tend to get damaged quite easily. I don't know about heavy vehicles though, and whether or not heavy vehicles take some level of damage as well, or what the deal is. Okay, good times. Let's put that away, and I sort of want to just check in on the vehicle itself. Yeah, we've taken a little bit of damage, but I think this is probably just from use, right? Not really from... It does say that it is at risk of decay, though, so I'm guessing we did take a little bit of damage from that storm. But perhaps maybe because of the nature of this vehicle being quite heavy and all that, maybe it takes less damage. I am hoping. I'm hoping it does. I could be wrong. So, yeah, unfortunately we didn't see any enemies. I'm sort of hoping to try to find some enemies to blast. Maybe I will go for the actual wreck of the Delphis, which should be just over here, right? Oh, actually no, this is not the Delphis, it's further that way. Yeah, that's the wreck of the Delphis there. Just trying to see if maybe there are other options for us. considering the length of the episode, that is. I mean, there's a little bit more of a wreck down here, or there's this. I think that's maybe a little bit better. Or I could just shoot some of these guys down here. Okay. Yeah, we are bringing the heat right now. Okay, let's check out this wreck. Yeah, probably not the best thing to do to use rockets just to, you know, clear out mines and stuff. But yeah, I'm sort of just desperate to play around with stuff, you know? Alright, I think we're looking good here. So I'm gonna work my way south, and then I'm gonna come back in and loop around to this wreck once more. I know we've been there already, but there's a chance that we'll actually see some enemies there, or actually, perhaps maybe the only reason why we saw some enemies there was because that we were dealing with a quest line, and perhaps maybe those enemies are just there guarding the place because of that. It could be. Just watching our fuel reserves there, because it is a little bit low. I probably do need to refill on more fuel. Okay, let's go. I'm trying to figure out what kind of speed I can actually maintain. Yeah, speed drops very significantly. So I suppose you could still, like, make quite a distance with the assault ornithopter, but it might take you a while longer. Okay, let's check this place out once more. Where's the entrance again? Maybe it's on the other side. Ooh, look at that. There's a bit of a spice field over there. Definitely going to go for that. I did see another spice field coming into the shoal area, so with any luck I might be able to go home with a little bit of spice on hand. Yeah, I don't see anyone here this time around. Oh, that's a shame. I wanted to rocket people to death, but it's all good. We don't have to rocket people to death. Looks like it's just been looted. Yeah, okay. Another reason for maybe not encountering enemies could be that other players have just been through here. So there's that. Okay, let's go for some spice. And I think I'm going to be heading home. So while we're doing this, I'm going to talk about what we're going to do in the next few episodes. So we could make our way back to the deep desert and to see if we can, you know, start gathering some of the resources in the deep desert. I'm pretty sure we would need some of those resources for plastanium. In fact, I believe we do have the ability to make some plastanium, provided we have certain resources, even using the medium ore refinery. So we could potentially do that, or I was sort of thinking we could maybe do the last trial. Again, I need to try and find where that cave is. I'm going to source agave seeds between episodes. I'll try to do that. I find that they can be quite difficult to find, though, in the Udom. And yeah, I'm thinking we want to try to complete the Great House, like, quest or whatever it is, and to do that I think I need to participate in the Landsrad. And the only way to participate in the Landsrad is to actually have a guild, or perhaps maybe join a guild. So I'll look into how to do that. I think I know how it's done, but I'm not 100% sure. Perhaps maybe we could just, like, make a guild and just do stuff for our own guild. We can be the guild leader. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. But if we do that, at the very least we can progress the quest line. And then there's a whole bunch of other quest lines that I haven't exactly completed as well. We could potentially do that on camera as well, while we're sort of working our way towards better gear, plastanium level gear. So that's sort of my thoughts on what we're going to do for the next few episodes. I don't even have a like a harvester just yet, and I believe that has been something that I could perhaps unlock through research, now that we have Duraluminium. So we'll try to take a look at that as well. The Bene Gesserit quest line is also something that I haven't completed. Just trying to look around for that spice field that I mentioned just earlier. Perhaps it's already been taken by someone else. Okay guys, I was looking around for some spice sand before, and yeah, I really didn't have any luck finding any, so now that I'm back, I do actually see a little bit of a patch over there, which I will probably go for, but I am back from home, actually. So I did decide to swing back home because, well, I found myself without too much more space in the inventory, so I decided to sort of just quickly tuck away the spy sand that we had and come back here because I do want to go to the wreck of the Delphis, I reckon. I think I may have said that we won't do that in this episode, but I think we've got a little bit of time, so we may as well get that done. Just check out what's out there, and yeah, that might actually be the episode, but let's not pass up any opportunity to grab some more spice sand. Definitely need all of this. And it's not really the melange that I'm after, in fact. I mean, I'm sure the melange would be very valuable. And I don't really know if I can actually sell the melange off for heaps of Solari or something like that. But we do actually need the melange for some upcoming technology, provided that we can get some plastanium. But also, we do need the spice residue, and the spice residue is what's keeping our base running, and running, you know, efficiently, because a lot of the bigger machines that are producing water and energy for us, they do require the spice residue to operate. So all the particulate filters and the industrial grade lubricant, they definitely need the spice residue to be made. So yeah, I mean, it's great for efficiency, but the trade-off is you need to find some of the most rarest materials in the game. So there you go. Anyway, that's the wreck of the Delphis over there in the distance. So let's make our way out there, and I'm gonna see if we can go through the entire place and see what's in it. I mean, it generally just says that, you know, it only has, like, stuff that we've already seen before. Let me just have a look here. Mechanical parts, microflora fibers, you know, that's not really that exciting, but the irradiated slag, however, is. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure if we can find, like, a whole heap of slag in here, but I'm hoping that's the case. So, I'm gonna leave the ornithopter here. The only issue is we're going to need to try and find a way back here when we're done. And this place is huge. I'm just worried about being irradiated for too long. And who knows, there might be enemies. There could be players. I keep saying that, but we never actually come across any. Let's see. Swap to that. And this place is very dark. So there's a little bit of slag there. Okay, that's an invisible wall, apparently. Explosives. We'll take all of that. Something going on up here. Just trying not to miss anything down below before we proceed. Yeah, it looks pretty clear to me. Oh. There we go. Yeah, I had a feeling there was something around here. dead guy. Okay, we've got an ID band. I don't even know where the door is, though. So that's very strange. Unless... oh, there it is. Okay. I completely missed that. Which means I could have missed a whole bunch of other stuff down here. We saw the explosives before. Yeah, I completely missed this entire section. Well, just as well, because we needed the ID band anyway. There we go. So, I mean, it's a good place for finding the slag. But not much else is going on here. Oh, wait a second, maybe I've spoken too soon. Seems to be a pathway over here. Yeah, okay, and then this is this just literally the other side of it? Quite possibly. Yeah, time to head back because I don't want to die from radiation, obviously. Now the question in my mind is whether or not there are supposed to be enemies in here, or whether or not you know, it's always clear of enemies. If I've been lucky enough to sort of come through here after a player's been through, that could explain why there are no enemies here. I am curious to see if there's anything else with the ship. And what I might do is I might see if we can just make our way out of the radiation and make our way back in again. Okay, so that should help with the radiation issue. Let's just gain some altitude and we'll dive back in. I suppose there's only one more wreck that I haven't exactly been to, which is, let's say, northwest of the Delphus. The wreck of the Tartarus. So, why not? Maybe we can just clear out all of the wrecks in this episode. But yeah, we're going to check in on the Delphus one more time, just to see if there isn't like another entry point elsewhere leading to even more loot. Yeah, so we went in through this left-hand side right here. And did we exit through here? Just before? Possibly. No. Maybe not. I've never actually used a glow tube before, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I can illuminate places using this, so that's kind of cool. But I suppose it defeats the whole purpose of using the, this thing, the personal light, which we may as well use. Yeah, this is definitely a completely different area. Well, I'm glad that we came back. Just look around a little bit more elsewhere. Wait for the fire to go out. Don't see too much more stuff, although there's something going on up there. Perhaps maybe some kind of a strategy sort of interface. Oh, missed this. Okay, good. There's a passageway down there. Okay, that looks like it would open, but... Huh. Seems to be another room back there. Oh, and even more over there. Jeez. There must be a band somewhere. I think I see some kind of a chest in there. Telexo data pad. I'm not sure what mission is going to require that, but I don't even know if we have the mission yet. Okay, another band required there. Yeah, I knew there was going to be more to the Delphus. Okay, radiation is now a problem. And yeah, I really do need to work my way out. Perhaps maybe glide back in, because I don't think we're done. I don't know where to find the bands, but there must be something within the area to let us through. Surely those bands are sitting around somewhere. Okay, making a beeline for the area that we didn't get to look at in too much detail. Though I feel like maybe I haven't looked around enough even at the beginning. Maybe I need to slow down a little bit and see if we can find anything of interest. It's hard not to want to rush things though, because okay, this leads back out. Sorry, it's hard not to want to rush things because you're sort of on the clock with the radiation. Okay, so perhaps maybe the entry point that we were in at the very beginning connects, and I didn't realize it. If that's the case... Yeah, okay, maybe because I left, the band has reset. Yeah, okay. Good. So we know that we've seen the door on that side, but perhaps maybe we can reuse this for the door on this side. Yeah, okay, it looks like it's open now. And with any luck, we find another band in here. Or not. Oh no, my backpack. My backpack is full. Bloody hell. Alright. Alright, goodness me. Well, we're going to have to come back to the Delphus in that case, because there's definitely that one room which we haven't been in, and I don't know where the band is for it. We're going to have to sort of come back here and try to explore it a little bit more. At least we know that one band leads to a few different doors that are accessible, but we're going to need to find, I think, a purple band to try and get into one of the other rooms which are available in there. But anyway, I thought I was going to explore Wreck of the Tartarus as well, but I think this is probably going to be the end of the episode for now, and when we come back we'll continue where we left off and also explore the Wreck of the Tartarus as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Drop me a like down below if you enjoyed it. Stay true, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.